Hey everybody, this is Drive Safe Dave here at the TCA, and I've got a really special guest here. We're going to talk a little bit about viruses, but in a little bit different way, right? Hey,
Yeah,
Richard,
absolutely.
how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave.
All right, so introduce yourself. I know you're with TMS, but what is it you do there at TMS?
Well, TMS is an IT company that is now focusing on transportation. As you know, transportation is a really targeted environment for viruses and attacks. Along with that, as part of our packaging, we also have a dispatch and an IFTA manager, so we're not just an IT company, and that's really given us a depth, a real broad depth on understanding what the industry is dealing with.
Right, and let's get down to the really nitty gritty of this. It's all about really dealing with the vulnerability of all of our computer systems out there today, right?
Yes.
There's a huge vulnerability situation.
Everything. If you, we're still doing business in 2022 like we did in 1985. And if you haven't changed anything in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years.
So if I run it on 3.11, network groups.
The same rules. You could ping from a machine back then and attack in a machine back then. And there is, from that example, there's no difference between that and 2022.
So we have to have safeguards, much like we do in everything else. We've got to find a way to be safer with our information as we do with out there on the road. It's all about, we're talking about, right?
That's a part of it. We have to think about security, just like you don't let somebody who's drunk get in front of and drive away a load, right?
Absolutely.
Because you know what's going to then happen.
Bad things happen.
Bad things will happen.
Bad things happen.
But you have to think about security. It can't be something that you buy a box and glue it on, or pretend that, oh, it'll just take care of itself. It's got to be a thought and conscious process, and that's what we do for our customers, because most small operators cannot afford a security officer, an information officer, somebody who understands data, somebody who understands backups and vulnerabilities, and where can things come in. So it's about holistically looking at the technology environment, and we wrap our clients in a protected bubble.
Yeah, so I'll tell you on a personal note, my wife doesn't work in the trucking industry, but she works in the different industry, and their systems was attacked and taken over, and they had somebody like you, and they were able to recover their systems, but it took a while, and it took a while. They had to go do they had to do some purge, and they had to clean, and they had to do all kinds of crazy things to protect themselves. But what I do get from you is there stuff that we can do every day to change the way that we make ourselves not as vulnerable?
Okay, I'm going to get a little geeky.
Okay, come on, geeky.
Isolated backups. So you want to make sure your backups are not directly on the wire. If they're directly on the wire all the time connected, they're going to be attacked. And then when your network goes down, everything that's connected goes down.
Wow. So that means actually unplugging it and walking or timed out, right?
Yeah, if there's all different ways to do it.
Right.
I'm trying to keep it real, simple and straightforward. If you're in a larger organization, generally you're going to run a virtual server, and you could do the backups on the hypervisor level, which means they get backed up.
What can I do personally? What can our guys do personally?
They can disconnect their backup after it's run.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Literally have two backup drives, swap them out.
Okay, so here, let's get down to it. There's also things that we can do individually, right? Like not clicking on things we don't know about, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, the simple things.
Making sure your antivirus is up to date.
Always.
Right? It's built into the OS. You do not have to pay extra for it. There's not anything else.
You're right. Okay, so make sure you got you're
make sure
boosted. You're boosted.
That's right. That's it.
Sure
you brought the virus in.
Make sure you're boosted. And you know what? What else can we do? I mean,
make sure all the updates are run.
Updates are run. Is there anything? Can we further educate ourselves? I mean, can we continue to learn, and not just stay ignorant to it? I think that's what a lot of us are guilty of. To be honest with you, a lot of us are just guilty of it. Oh, that's tiki geeky and what have you.
Somebody wants Wi-Fi in their office. They go to the local store. They buy an access point.
Yeah.
They plug it in and turn it on. Oh, look, it's all working. You just left the default ID and the default password on the device. So anybody who's driving by,
It locks in.
boom, and all of a sudden the FBI comes knocking on your door and says, we'd like to arrest you because somebody who was using your internet just attacked a hospital complex.
Unbelievable. And that can happen.
Has, not can, has. These are not, these
So,
are
Richard,
real
if
events.
anybody wants to reach out and get a hold of you in this industry, how do they do that?
TMS Digital is the company. It's owned by Protected Harbor.
Okay.
Richard Luna at protectedharbor.com.
Richard Luna,
Luna
Luna,
at Protected Harbor, Protected, HARBOR.com.
all right. And if you have any questions, they can reach out to you anytime.
100%, happy to.
All right, and if you're here at the conference, make sure you run by your booth, right?
Yep.
And say hi, get to know what's going on. Man, I appreciate you coming on. Thank
you so much.
Richard. Hey, before you go, you have to say BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You have to say it.
BCB Live,
The safest
the safest station
in the nation.
in the nation.
Bam!
Boom!
All right, guys, we'll be right back.